Hi everyone, I'm Chris.
And I'm Corey. Join us on our foul-mouthed adventure through the 80s as we answer the questions you didn't know you had, point out the things you missed, and recap the behind-the-scenes stories that likely never happened.
You're listening to
That's Basically the 80s.
All warfare is based on deception. Sun Tzu. If your enemy is superior, evade him. If angry, irritate him. If equally matched, fight. And if not, split, reevaluate.
Yeah, he's learning, huh? What he's learning.
Hey Corey,
What's up?
we're back with another Patreon request.
Wall Street.
So I think we should get all of our Patreons and everyone else to go ahead and just send us like $20,000 and we'll invest for them.
Yeah, my dad has an airline.
Yeah.
And money never sleeps, as we find out later.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, it's like, you just give somebody your money and then a couple weeks later they'll just give you more money back.
Right.
That's how it works.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Also, in parentheses, money never sleeps is the Wall Street 2. That's like the second half of, like, it's called Wall Street Money Never Sleeps. That's the second one. So that's just like a like an inside joke for all the Wall Street stands out there.
Yeah, Michael Douglas was like, "Fuck
I'm out
you,
of
Charlie
prison.
Sheen. You're out. Shia LaBeouf, you're in."
Where's that Transformer motherfucker? I'm
Where's
out
that
of
guy
prison.
that did some shit,
Mm-hmm.
So, anyways, so obviously we're talking about Wall Street. This is from our Patreon, Chris Buhite from Austin, Texas.
Yep.
Who used to have a sweet-ass mullet, but now he doesn't.
Did you see his wig that he had on Facebook? He's
No.
like, CVS or whatever is selling wigs, and he bought a wig.
No, I didn't see it. I've kind of been off Facebook
Looked
for
awesome.
a while.
Oh, yeah. I
But,
forgot.
I've just been focusing on, like, centering my
Life.
chi, just
Mhm.
getting in there. Like, I've been drinking a lot of black tea.
No, you haven't. You've been drinking coffee, though.
True.
Um,
Oh, fuck, that's not black tea?
yeah, he looks like a fucking Beatle, like George Harrison or some shit. He's just got he just like had a wig
That kind of sounds like what he would do, though.
Uh-huh.
Because he's obsessed with the Beatles.
Yep. And the Stones, huh?
Yeah.
Him and his sister Kim were both huge Rolling Stones people.
And Led Zeppelin.
Mhm.
And, like, the Bay City Rollers, I think.
SATURDAY. Night.
So, anyways, I don't really know where the fuck I was going with this. Oh, Patreons.
Yep.
This is a Patreon episode. Chris Buhite, we already said that. But I have a quick Patreon story. Is that him?
Yeah.
Why does he look like...
Looks like a Karen that wants to talk to a manager, huh?
Yeah, he definitely doesn't look like a Beatle.
No. Well, kind of.
But he kind of looks like... who are those motherfuckers that sing like... I think I love you.
The
so
Monkees?
What am I so afraid? They're like the Partridge Family or something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I like it. But yeah, he bought that wig. We'll try to throw a picture up for our Patreon only people. So if you want to see that picture, jump
Be
on
like, vote on Buhite's wig.
there. Mm-hmm.
Anyways, I have a quick Patreon story for Steve-O, our first Patreon ever.
Okay.
So check this out. The other night, like 2 nights ago, or even 1 night ago, maybe. Yeah, it was last night. He texts me and says, "Hey man, I found some ammo online. You want me to get you a box or something?" I'm like, "Yeah, give me a second." So I looked at some stuff and I'm like, "Oh shit, I could use this." It was like $27 for a box of ammo, right?
Right.
And then I'm like, "You want me to give you cash or Venmo or whatever?" And then I heard from him this morning and he sent me just a screenshot of his wife's Venmo, right?
Uh-huh.
And so I'm like, okay, so I sent him $30. So it was like $3 over what I owed him. And in the little tag on Venmo, I was like, "This is for the ammo and the rock star that Steve-O doesn't know I stole from him."
Because you stole a drink from him?
Yeah, because he was on, they kind of switched his schedule. So
Uh-huh.
he's working day shifts and we were on the off shift. And I was like, "Oh, fuck, man, I could really just use this rock star." And I stole it from Steve-O. And then he messaged me. He's like, "Motherfucker, I knew I should have taken those rock stars home." I was like,
Yeah, you should have.
and then his wife on Venmo clicked the liked my comment.
That's funny.
So, anyways,
Well,
that's the
before-
kind of cool shit you get if you sign up for the Patreon.
Yeah, I was going to say, before we jump too deep into Wall Street, our Patreon, it can be found at That's Basically the 80s, and we would love any support on there. We've got a couple different tiers with some cool features for them, anywhere from $1 a month to be a proud supporter up to $69 a month, which comes with
a bunch of stuff.
A bunch of bold claims. Like, apparently I have to pay the taxes for you guys on that, so you're kind of making a little bit of money. And
an
what
autograph
else?
picture.
Autograph pictures.
So off of
rap
Patreon,
battles.
you get a picture, you get a sticker, you get a mug,
Mhm.
and then we're going to give you a gift every month.
Yeah, you've just
a
been,
small gift.
We've been sending out like Chase Funkos and stuff, right?
Yeah, we
Like,
just sent out,
Mhm.
like, to all of our 6-month Patreons. We just sent them all a gift at our $5 tier, and our $12 tier, I sending him one tomorrow, and then our $69 tier, we're going to give an extra gift every month.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, we really want to give back to those that support us, because obviously we couldn't do this without everybody listening.
right,
so,
and all of your Patreon money is going to help us, because a lot of these movies we have to rent.
Yep.
You know, because they're all older movies and, like, weird specific movies, so we're having to rent those, so the money goes to renting those, and we're wanting to upgrade our
equipment.
yeah, or what's it, equalizer?
Yep.
Whatever, so that way we can have a third mic and occasionally have a guest speaker in here.
Right.
So that's and also we're Corey, actually, because he's a lot better at the bullshit than I am, is actively working on our website right now.
Yep.
So
It's basically the80s.com/we roll titties.
you remember that movie Sex Drive
Yeah.
with I don't know
Yeah.
who's that motherfucker that played Cyclops?
Mhm.
Yeah, and then
Like www.we roll.
yeah,
Those two
we're
kids
aw-
driving in the little
www,
car.
we're awesome /we roll.
Yeah, those little guys. And is that the one when he's like running through the field and he's naked and he's got like is he like handcuffed to the bed?
Yeah, and the girl wants to give him the rolling
Yeah.
brown out.
He's just running through the field.
He's-
Fuck.
And the brother's like trying to chase him or something. He's just
Yeah.
got his clothes running, and she's like, "Nothing brown."
Right.
And then,
That reminded me specifically of our newest Patreon that we just shot. It's got the details of what the next Captain America movie is going to be about. So if you guys want to hear the inside scoop on that, you should check that out.
yeah, I don't know if you know this, but Corey actually has a direct line to Chris Evans.
Yeah.
So they've been kind of like spitballing ideas back and forth.
Yeah, we got
And
this.
Aunt Peg.
Yep.
So, anyways, do you want to jump right into Wall Street? See how long we can stay on task?
Right. Like, we're 8 minutes into the podcast. What if we just jump right in?
Yeah, let's just fucking jump in head first, or 2 feet first, or 2 feet.
We're gonna
what's
slide
the-
in head first, just like Pete Rose.
Nice. What's the saying, like, oh, fucking man just jumps in feet first, or whatever,
Sounds like a good saying to me.
Like, you don't walk up to the lake and like test the water with your toe and see how cold it is. You just walk up there and just fucking jump.
And I don't do that.
Yeah, you're not a man. Like, read the man code.
Okay, I will. Although my quote of diving in head first, just like Pete Rose, is an Arrested Development quote.
Nice. No, back in, like, do you remember back in the day when you'd have, like, when people didn't have phones all the time, and then you'd go to a quirky little restaurant, or you'd go to like a waiting area, and then they'd have those little like books sitting on the table, and it'd just be like a whole book full of nonsense. It'd be like the thought for the day, or man quotes, or whatever.
Oh yeah, all them fucking books.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure in one of those I saw like a man doesn't dip his toe in to fill the water; they just fucking jump in. Something like that. I'm pretty sure that's where it came from.
Probably something like that. Yeah, I remember those books, and it'd be like the book could be called like "Never Spit into the Wind" and Other Parables by Gene Thompson
Right.
from Gillette, Wyoming.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's exactly what I'm talking
Exactly.
about.
Yep, I know
So-
those books.
So yeah, we're just fucking jumping in there. Like
Uh-huh.
8 minutes ago, we jumped in there.
Yeah.
So this
We
is
got
actually our
in.
comeback around.
Yep.
So Wall Street. None of us have seen Wall Street before.
I've seen. I'm aware that there is a street called Wall Street, and I've seen people ringing bells on Wall Street, and I have a 401k, but that's all I know.
I have a 401k.
Actually, I don't even have a 401k. I have a 403b, but whatever.
I know Carrie's been in New York, so
She's
there's
been in
there's
New
a
York?
chance she's seen Wall Street. But yeah, Charlie Sheen.
That'd be funny if that was the whole episode. That's what we got. Jesus fuck. There's a street out there, and it's got walls on it, man.
So you've got Charlie Sheen,
Uh-huh.
Martin Sheen,
Yep.
which ironically plays Charlie Sheen's character's dad, and Martin Sheen is Charlie Sheen's dad.
Right.
So, do you think that was hard to pull off? Do you think he's like, fuck off, Dad? And he's like, sorry, Dad, that was just for the movie, but not really.
They just
He's
like, yeah, they're, and then Martin Sheen, he's like, you're just a motherfucker that fucking borrows money all the time, you son of a bitch. And then he's like, Dad, I didn't even borrow money in this movie. And he's like, oh sorry.
Shit, we're recording?
I was just yelling at you otherwise.
Martin Sheen's like, whatever, your career ain't shit. And he's like, I'm an actor like you, Dad. Yeah, but you ain't shit compared to me. Right? So, and then it's got Michael Douglas, which I really like Michael Douglas.
Gordon Gekko?
Yeah, Gordon Gekko.
Yeah.
From Gecko and Gecko Supplies.
From Gecko and Gecko Investments.
Gecko and Gecko. Like, whenever anybody comes and talks to him, he's like, oh, Mr. Gecko, who's the other Gecko? He's like, me. Sometimes I just go to the bathroom, look in the mirror, and be like, oh, fucking Gecko and Gecko, what's up?
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, it's just how it goes.
You know how, like, geckos can, like, change color and, like, blend into all their environments?
Right.
I saw a joke one time that was, like, me walking into a pet store. Hi, do you sell geckos? And then, like, the store attendant's just like, I have no fucking idea.
I don't know.
They can just hide all the time, you know?
Or maybe the gecko's, like, watching you, and they're like, oh, do you sell geckos? And then the gecko, like, fades away. It's like, no, not that motherfucker. So, how does this movie start out? Isn't it like Charlie Sheen's like fucking walking down like busy New York? Mm-hmm. And I'm sure there's probably a hooker over there somewhere, and then there's probably a station wagon or something, right? And then, oh yeah, because I remember they were jamming Frank Sinatra, right?
Yep.
During the beginning.
Old Blue Eyes.
Yeah. And so I thought that was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
And so that set the tone for me. And I was like, okay, I'm invested in this. If you
I know about Frank.
Yeah, and you've got some Big Daddy Frank going.
Mm-hmm.
And then leads on right to getting on Wall Street. And then they're cramming like 1,000 people into an elevator.
Yep.
Like, what's the most you've ever been crammed into an elevator?
Have
you been mashed in there so much where you couldn't move?
No. Because I would, if I was ever in that position, I would just get out of the elevator for sure.
What if you're in the back corner?
I'll just get out. Whatever. This is my floor. Excuse me.
What if you like got in on the main floor and then they all crammed in there behind you?
I'd be like, oh, yep, this is my floor. The first floor.
Not me, man. I'm that guy that's gonna fart.
You would fart in there. I know you would. You're not a good person. You would do that. This one time, my brother and I were at the Salt Lake City. It's across the street from the Salt Lake City Mormon Temple. There's like a church building that's over there, and we were over there for our aunt's wedding. We were like, fuck it, let's just go like ride some elevators and mess around and stuff. And so we ended up like going up to like the 7th floor or something, and then we hopped off the elevator and they were doing like construction and stuff. Jesus was over there like, put those bricks there and this over here.
And some guy walks up and is like, hey Jesus, where should we put the M&M stand?
He's like, fuck them M&Ms. But so then we're like, well, we can't be here, so let's go. So we hit the elevator, and it comes down and opens up. And inside the elevator is literally like just 10 women dressed up in like bonnets and like skirts and stuff from like the fucking...
So you took the elevator back in time.
1800s. And it just opens up. And my brother Garrick, he just looks at it and he goes, nope. And just turns and walks off. And I was like, nope. And I just went with him. He's like, I can't get in there with all them fucking butter churning women. Like,
dude,
what am I going to do?
No,
you know?
There was literally 10 wives waiting for you right there.
I know. They were heading to somewhere else, but
he wasn't ready to be locked down like that, was he?
But we got in a different elevator, and then he tried to time it to jump when it went down, and he timed it perfectly, and it went down, and then he got caught like a little bit of air and landed, and then he shit his pants.
That's called karma,
right?
Those fucking ladies casted a curse on him, you know?
That's fucking awesome.
So, yep. Anyways,
that's elevators.
That's elevators. There are elevators on Wall Street.
Yep.
So what the fuck was this movie even about?
It was about, like the intro says, you fucking learn your opponent and then you fight with them or against them or you run away.
Right. So you got Charlie Sheen working in
He's
Wall
on
Street.
The floor. Yeah. He's like those guys that are always yelling.
Yeah. He's like, oh fuck, buy some stock in Nike.
Something. Yep.
And they're like, did you say Nike? No, Nike.
Right.
You know? And he's trying to call people, and his dad gives him shit. He's like, dude, you fucking call people and try and sell shit. You're a salesman.
Yeah,
he's like, no, Dad, I'm a salesman.
You don't understand. I'm a broker.
Yeah, he's like, well, you could have been a CEO to whatever, you know?
Blue Star.
Yeah.
Airlines.
And so then he keeps trying to call Gecko and get a meeting with him, right? And
the only thing he gets is that secretary. He's like, when we getting married?
And she's like, you got a bonnet? He's like, oh, I don't understand the reference, but should I
But
get one?
yeah, he like calls her and he's like, I gotta talk to Gecko. Like, I got these fucking stocks that I want him to buy. And then she's like, he ain't gonna talk to you. And he's like, whatever. But then he meets, well, he doesn't meet. So then it introduces, I don't even know the actor's name. He just died, I think. But the guy that plays the doctor from Scrubs.
Yeah, that guy.
Yep. I think he just died, right?
I don't know. I didn't
Pretty
look
sure
into
he
it.
just did.
But yeah, so he's like his cool friend.
Yeah, but he's his friend.
But he also is like he calls him on his shit later because then when Bud does good, he's like, oh man, I'm sorry. He's like, look man, you were just a fucking dick.
Mm-hmm. But they meet, so it kind of introduces them both, and they're both, they're like stock. They're essentially doing kind of what, what they kind of did in, what's that other fucking Wall Street movie with Leo?
Wolf of Wall Street?
Yeah, like they're just calling people and like getting them to spend their money like in accounts to flip.
They're basically like old school magazine salesmen.
Yeah.
They just go door to door instead of door to door. They're just calling and
Phone
saying,
to
hey, buy
phone.
this magazine. They're like, hey, no.
Right. But then Charlie Sheen, he's got he's like, I'm fucking gonna just like kind of rot away and live like a half life, like he talks to his dad and everything, and he's like, yeah, I could have made like 35,000 with your airline, but like that ain't shit. I gotta live in Wall Street like a player, and I gotta make like
I gotta have this apartment.
Yeah,
and I gotta have this suit, and that apartment does come in clutch.
Oh yeah,
because later what do we see? What do we see Charlie doing?
Boning.
Yeah, no, he's not boning, but he does get up, and then we do see them sweep.
Yeah, there's
ass.
one titty at least. And
there's two titties and one ass.
Yep.
Did you know that Charlie Sheen actually shows himself walking around in his underwear in this movie?
No, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, because you were looking at the titties.
Oh yeah,
I was watching Charlie Sheen.
So I need to apologize. John Christopher McGinley is the character from. That's his friend. That's who plays the doctor in Scrubs and his friend in Wall Street.
Okay.
He did not die. The lawyer in Scrubs, that character just died recently, and I confused the two on accident. So I'm sorry I set that straight though.
Oh well, now that we all know what's going
nobody
on.
listens to this podcast for our facts.
Or you do.
Could you imagine like on the stand and you're like, Your Honor, that's basically the lady's claimed that, and she's just like hits the gavel. I'm going to stop you right there. They've never even got one thing right.
They literally called the most famous person from the 80s Howard Hughes. And they're sticking with it.
Right? They didn't. We presented them evidence and they doubled down.
We are like the FDA claiming that fats are bad for you.
Yes.
Yes, his name is Howard Hughes. Yes.
No, we won't take any questions on it.
Nope. So, hey, did you know that actually on his birth certificate it says John Hughes? Nope, that's wrong. Sir, from the FDA, did you know that all of these high sugars are bad for you and these fats are actually good? Wrong.
Fats are bad. All right, let's try to regroup here. But where did we end before we...
we were talking about, we got into Charlie Sheen and his titties, and we got to his friend.
Apartments. He was telling his dad, he's like, I gotta have a ball-ass apartment for all this shit. And he's like, whatever, you could have been something at my airline. But then his dad tells him, he's like, oh, did you hear that accident? The FDA ruled it was a mechanical failure, so we're not going to get sued, so we're going to be able to go public with the company and make some money and stuff. And then Charlie Sheen's like, oh shit, I'm about to Wolf of Wall Street and do some insider trading.
He's like, oh, I gotta take Gecko a birthday present.
Yep, I'm about to Martha Stewart this bitch.
Right?
But so yeah, then he's like, shit, let me buy a fucking box of cigars for Gordon Gecko. And then he shows up, and then he's like, hey, what's up, lady? Do you recognize my voice? I'm the one that asked you to marry me a couple hours ago.
And she's like, yeah,
right, I thought you'd be taller. And he's like, well, I thought you'd be hotter.
You kind of reminded me of like Emilio Estevez, but not as good looking.
Right. But she's like, well, fuck, I guess you'll get to see him then. But then he does like this weird thing where he like looks in the mirror and he's like, you got this, man. And he gives him like pumps himself up. Like if I was the secretary, I'd be like, hey, Gecko, this guy calls you all the time, and I was going to let him in to talk to you because he bought you a present, but he was just looking in the mirror and talking to himself and saying, you got this, and like flexing. Should I have security escort him out? And if I was Gecko, I'd have been like, fuck yeah.
Be like, no, if I was Gecko, because that motherfucker has a giant block of dynamite on his desk.
Oh, he does, actually.
I would have just like put a clock on that dynamite and like started a tick down and just walked out there and handed it to him and said, hold this and see what happens when it gets to 0.
That dynamite was kind of weird. You had to we had to rewind it, and you're like, no, he really does have dynamite. And then you rewinded it in his office, and it does look like a stick of dynamite just sitting there. No, it doesn't
look like it. It is.
It's just crazy,
bundle of dynamite.
I mean, I guess if you're Gordon Gecko, you just need that. But
yeah, you just set the precedence.
But so Gecko's just like, what up, man? You fucking call me all the time. What's going on? He's like, well, I just want to be friends, okay?
I want to sell some stock. And he's like, bitch, get out of here.
He's like, I make $1 million a second. And then he's like, unless you got me with some good shit. And that's when his like fucking devil and angel conscious show up on the shoulders. And he's like, I'm going to listen to the devil. And he's like, check this out. I know this company is going to go public. We can buy a whole bunch. And then he's like, how do you know? And he's like, I just know, okay? He's like, all right.
And then it doesn't really work out for him. But,
nope.
That's a different story. Right. But he does get the blowjob from the lady in the fucking limo, right?
Yes.
So either way, it worked out for him. I mean, he might get killed by Gecko's goon squad later, but at least...
I forgot about that, but yes, I guess that part does happen for him. But like my thing is like Gecko, he kind of is just like, oh, this guy is like an up and comer and he wants to impress me, so I'm going to use him. I can funnel all of my insider trading shit through him. And just tell him, like, use a different name and you won't get caught. And then I don't have to worry about getting caught.
Right.
You know?
And later the attorney or whatever is like, just fucking sign it. And then he's like, oh, everything's going through you and nothing comes back on me. And he's like, fuck, that's okay.
Yeah, he's like, this is totally fine.
I mean, I get Hummers from random people in cars.
Right.
This is nothing. Should we pause for a commercial?
It might be time for a commercial break, yeah. Hey, Chris.
Hey, Corey.
Well, it's 2021, so I got some kind of resolutions and stuff. One of the things that I was thinking about doing was I got some ideas in my head. I got to get them out to the world. So I was thinking about making a podcast.
I think that's a great idea. There's not a better way to get your ideas into the world.
And just put them out there.
Just got to say them.
Yep. So do you know what you do to do that if you want to make a podcast?
What do you do?
Well, you can download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. And you can just put them ideas down and then the New Year's resolution complete.
Yeah. Well, you got any examples of those good ideas?
Yep. Our podcast, which you're listening to right now.
Yeah, that's because you guys are awesome.
Yep.
Thank you. Welcome back from our amazing commercial break.
Yep.
And we're going to come at you real quick with a 90s movie. And I've just been or not a 90s, a 2000 movie. This one came out in 2000. I think it was 2000. And it kind of just reminds me of just being a kid and what it was like back in the day. And then like kind of going through that stage of like, that's what I like in life. And it also reminds me of one of our Patreons and one of our oldest good friends, Dan.
My best good buddy, Dan.
So I want you to just break down Bring It On.
Oh, that is an awesome movie.
And when's the last time you've seen it?
Just like a couple hours ago.
Oh, shit. I'm going to watch it again. I'm going to make Carrie watch it, actually, so she'll make fun of me.
Right. I think, growing up, Eliza Dushku was like my celebrity crush.
Yes,
like, I loved her.
Yeah, you and I were like, oh, Eliza Dushku, and Dan's like, fuck you guys, Kirsten Dunst.
Yeah, and he loved Kirsten Dunst. One time, so Dan loved Kirsten Dunst, right? So Dan made a fan page. Do you remember his website? It was a website dedicated to Kirsten Dunst.
I vaguely remember this, yes.
And then you and me were at his house, and we got on their family computer, and we were trying to look up Eliza Dushku porn, and we accidentally downloaded a porn virus on his computer. Do you remember this?
I do remember this vividly.
Yeah. And every time he restarted the computer, it was just a fucking beef, just boom, right there in the middle.
Not even Eliza Dushku's beef, just like a random.
Yeah. And then like his parents were coming home. It was just like TikTok motherfucker, and he's like sitting there like on fucking war games, you know? Like he's like trying to hack into the mainframe and get rid of it.
He's like watching. He has two screens going. One screen watching Matthew Broderick on War Games, and you and me over there like fucking sipping Mountain Dew, fucking dying laughing. Like the worst friends.
Oh God, so bad. But but he managed to do it. Motherfucker got that virus removed. I don't know what he did either, but it worked. But that reminds me of another time where his house, and we were downstairs in his bedroom, and we had like a Playboy or something. We were looking at a Playboy, and it's me, Dan, and our friend James Kramer, which is they're both last names are Kramer, spelled differently. And so we're all sitting there, and James has got this porno mag, and he's looking at it, and you come walking down the stairs and walk in the door, and then we thought that it was his mom, and James just fucking takes that magazine and just throws it right in my lap. He's just done with it. It just hits me right in the lap. I was like, what? Luckily it was you. But James was just like, I wasn't going down for that. I was throwing it to you. I was going to say that you brought it out. Oh, those are my first two memories of Bring It On. But I mean, to talk about the actual movie, I mean, I never knew that I liked cheerleading so much until that movie.
Right, it's like the classic cliche. You have the cheerleaders out there dancing and stretching and everything, and then you got the one guy that everybody thinks is gay, but he's not really gay.
Right.
Or maybe he is, I don't remember. And then the two big bros are like, oh, because he's stretching with the girl. Mm-hmm. And he's like, oh, we should try out for cheerleading. And the other guy's like thinking about it. He's like, no, don't be gay, man.
Yeah, like that. Like one of the best quotes during that movie, they get done like cheerleading at the football game, and then the two guys, like the two football bros, they walk by, and he's like, Jay's got spirit, how about you? And they're all making fun of him, and then he's like, dude, you guys lost. And they're like, shut up. And just walk off. But like that did just kind of remind me of like high school in like 90s, 2000s, like just like the football bros making fun of like the cheerleading dudes. You know?
So check this out. You remember James Johnson by chance?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, he's I haven't seen him in years, but he was a cool fucker back in the day. I think it was him. Me and him were doing we had video production. You know, back when you actually had to learn how to do video in school instead of everybody having a cell phone that would just record video.
Right.
So we actually were brilliant enough that we got together with the cheerleaders, and then like we're like, hey, we're gonna do a feature on, what was it, Wolf Channel, or
it was called Wolfline.
Wolfline, yeah, because our school was the Wolves, and we'd have like a weekly.
I was there too, yep.
Yeah. And so we got to, were you there with the cheerleaders?
I wasn't there.
Oh. So then we're like, hey, we hooked up with the cheerleaders, and we're like, hey, we're going to come to a feature about you guys for Wolfline. And so then we just got backstage passes and just hang out
with them.
Yeah. It was like, we're going to shoot some shots, you know, and do some stuff, but we're just fucking hanging out with the cheerleaders, you know.
Yeah, I was with you guys when we made the music. We made some music videos for a couple different songs. There was one. Fuel, yep.
You helped with our video that we did for like American History.
Yeah.
Didn't me and you edit that?
Yeah, we did.
When I was like Elvis and shit, and I painted on sideburns and
there
stuff.
Was like something like in the shower. Like didn't like one of you guys in the shower, and we not like you guys like dressed up like as someone from history in the shower.
Yeah, I think it was like Elvis and Abraham Lincoln, and I don't remember what, but it was.
And then was it the Fuel video when one of us almost got ran over because Dan was driving his Cadillac like cruising through, and he was gonna slam on the brakes and almost ran us over.
Yep. And then you actually had the video and the footage where we're like grabbing the camera and running out of the way. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Do you remember the video I made about do you remember those commercials, Behold the Power of Cheese?
Yeah. And
it was like the cheese, and it was hunting me around the store because I didn't want it. It was like I'm walking through the store, the grocery store, and I come up, and it's like a thing of Velveeta cheese and like some store cheese. And I'm like, fuck Velveeta cheese. And I grabbed the store cheese. And then it like started playing the Jaws theme. And like I was like in the clothing section, and like the Velveeta pops up. And then like it followed me around the store. And I went in to try on some clothes, and it dove over.
So if we had kept all these would be like TikTok gold.
Oh, yeah.
Like these were like TikTok on sex steroids.
Yeah.
You gave them like 4 of those blue pills.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We did some awesome shit.
Yeah. We were always probably ahead of our time in comedy. Nobody got it. Like I sat there in my history class, and everybody watched the video, and then it was time for the next video. And it was just like a daze. Like everybody was like, all right, I don't know what that was, but I was just like, God, that's funny. I'm a fucking Martin Scorsese genius over here.
So yeah, that's Bring It On.
Yeah, that's Bring It On. I love Eliza Dushku.
Yeah, basically cheerleaders, you know, people like to watch them.
Yep.
And
Burr, it's cold in here. There must be some toros in the atmosphere. Do you know what that is?
That's absolutely the 2000s.
I can't remember what we
Was
were
it-
saying. Something like that.
Total? No,
That's
it's
definitely the 2000s.
definitely, yeah, definitely. So back to Wall Street. I'm sure we can get another good 10, 15 minutes out of some Wall Street action.
Yeah,
right?
it's a 2-hour movie. We should be able to get 10 minutes out of it.
So we talked a little bit about his friend that later becomes a doctor.
Yep.
He's like, fuck Wall Street, I'm going to go be a doctor.
Fuck Wall Street, I'm going to go be an asshole doctor.
So he looks at Bud. He's like, hey, Bud. And his name is really Bud. So he's like, look, man, I've got some tickets to the Knicks. So
2 tickets to paradise.
Yeah, so I think that you and I need to go watch the Knicks, and then we'll go out and we'll get some chicks.
Mm-hmm.
And
Knicks and chicks.
Yeah, and Bud's like, no, that's not for me. And he's like, what the fuck, man? It's the Knicks and chicks. I'm offering you Knicks and chicks.
Mm-hmm.
Do you turn that down?
No. I'd go watch like a Knicks game. That kind of like, there's like...
We're talking late 80s, like Patrick Ewing.
Ewing would fucking dunk on them and everything, you know? And then you get them hanging out with them chicks and stuff.
Yeah.
Isn't that the same? Don't they offer him Knicks tickets in, or is it a different team in Bad Boys when he's like, he can see the game from the parking lot?
Well, they're in Miami, so I think it's
It's probably Heat.
the Heat, yeah.
Yeah.
And then what's the one in the other guys? The one with Will Ferrell?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's just kind of the
Lakers
same
or
thing.
something. Or it's either Knicks or Lakers, yeah.
There's something like that.
Yeah.
They're like, fuck, they're so convincing.
Right.
Every time they go in there, they're like, oh, hey, here's some tickets to the Knicks. And
Yeah, like some cucumber water.
but yeah, like Charlie Sheen Bud, and probably just because his name is Bud,
Right.
is the only person in history that's turned that down.
Oh, yeah.
Because back in the day when I was doing construction, one of our suppliers was like, hey, guys, you want some fucking Jazz tickets? Yeah, give them to me.
I do.
And so I went to a fucking Jazz game.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they lost, but
They
I
do that.
didn't turn them down.
Right. No.
So
You gotta take them up on them tickets. What was I gonna say? I had something that I wanted to say about that, but whatever. I got nothing. I would have went and watched the Knicks.
yeah, I mean, I'm not even a Knicks fan, but I would have went them.
I still would have went.
So how the fuck do you, speaking of the Knicks, how do you get to a point in your life where I'm like, I'm so rich, I'm gonna just start a basketball team, and then your friend's like, yeah, that's cool, but I think the starting point of a basketball team is you got to have a baller name, you know, because they're balling.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, yeah, I'm gonna go with
The Knickerbockers.
yeah. And then his friend's like, that's awesome.
Right.
And then like 3 years down the road, they're like, that's a long name. Should we just like reduce it to the Knicks?
I would have named them the long sock ass wearing motherfuckers.
Yeah. Like, how do you, aren't Knickerbockers like a pair of underwear or something?
I think they're like socks, like knee high socks.
Yeah. That's insane. That's like calling a team in Salt Lake the Jazz. Based off of jazz music.
Right. From when they were the New Orleans Jazz or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, there's a reason for that because they were bought and moved, which is still nonsense.
Right. Just
But
change your name.
how does that happen? Like the Knickerbockers.
Right.
They're like, hey, guys. He's just like, oh, I want to name it after my wife, this lady that wears these long hosieries. You're like, bro, she's 65 and she has corns on her feet. Shut the fuck up. I'm paying the bill. So anyways, that's has nothing to do with our movie, but it's like it always has bothered me ever since I was a kid.
He just did that, yeah.
Yeah.
Or he or she, I don't know who.
But
made
then
it,
again,
yeah.
maybe this guy got all of his money on Wall Street and he's like, I'm so rich, I'll do what I want.
Yeah.
I'm going to name this basketball team after a pair of socks and who's going to stop me?
What if his like writing was really bad and it was called the New York Dicks, but then they just approved it because it was like back in the day. It was like a telegram. And he's like, fuck it. Knicks sounds awesome too. It's supposed to be called the New York Dicks though.
The New York. And he's like, oh, I thought I was buying a baseball team because then they'd have been the swinging dicks.
Yep, that has nothing to do with the movie, but that
That's
was baseball team or
I guess
basketball
opium
teams.
or cocaine or whatever, you know?
Something like
Just
that.
gets in there. So, anyways, let's talk a little bit more about.
movie.
Let's try and talk about the movie. Yeah, let's talk about Daryl Hannah.
All right, yep.
Yeah, because she's like the lead lady.
Yep.
In the movie, and
The
Carrie-
love interest and the main female talent.
Yeah, Carrie's like, oh fuck, is that Daryl Hannah? She's like, I love Mermaid, and I was like, fuck, I thought that was like if you can't afford Kim Basinger, you get her.
Well, she's like way older than Kim Basinger, right?
No, probably not.
No?
I think they're about the same age.
Are they?
So Kim Basinger, we took a small break there to get
Mhm.
some clarification. Kim Basinger is actually 7 years older than
Right.
Daryl Hannah.
To be fair, I was talking about Kate Beckinsale. I
Right.
had them confused.
Right, you were like hot girl from the 50s, born in the 50s, hot girl born in the 60s, hot girl born in the 70s. You're like,
Mhm.
whatever, man. I don't care.
Whatever.
I'll just take them from the generation, you know.
Just hot people born from whenever. I don't care.
Because basically, I'm just taking myself and throwing myself in that movie, you know,
Mhm.
and I'll win them over. But
Yep.
I've never seen Mermaid.
I've seen. I know of mermaids. I've never seen them.
I love mermaids, though.
Mhm.
I mean, I have some mermaid tattoos.
You do.
I have a mermaid shower curtain.
Yep.
So I feel like I should be choosing Daryl Hannah over Kim Basinger,
Mm-hmm.
but just ever since Batman, because that's been in my heart ever since I was young, I'm just loyal to Kim Basinger.
One time, I was in my house and my kids were with me, and my daughter, she was sitting there, and she's just kind of like, I could tell she's like just going through a tough time. She's like thinking to herself and like writing some stuff, and she kept like putting her hand on her head and stuff. And I was like, "What's going on, Katie?" And she's like, "I don't know what I'm going to be when I grow up, Dad. I'm just trying to decide between an animal doctor and a mermaid." And I was like, "Well, I can't help you out. Those are two solid career choices. You're
Yeah.
going to just have to make the best choice that you can."
It's true. You know, I went to Comic-Con,
Mhm.
and there was a whole like crew of mermaids there.
Yeah.
They were ladies that would just
in a
they would
bowl of water.
they would be mermaids, and you'd pay to get pictures with them and stuff, and you know they
she
would,
just didn't know what she was going to be.
yeah.
I wanted to be like, I mean, one of them has like a job. The other one just kind of fucking swims around. But
Yeah, one is an actual career and one helps animals.
right, and one doesn't exist. But
Or it does, you don't know.
right. It's just so funny. She was so concerned about if she was gonna, like, she was like on the road to like figuring out her life goals. At
Dude, that's
6
the
years
cool
old.
thing about being a kid compared to being an adult.
Mhm.
Like, we have some problems that we just fuck with all the time. They're like, oh, we gotta pay our bills, we gotta go to work.
Right.
But kids' problems are real problems.
Yeah.
Like, am I gonna be an animal doctor or a mermaid?
Mhm.
That
I need
is
to figure this out right away.
like
I'm
if
about to
a,
have
if
a
a
mental
lot
breakdown.
of adults would just like lower their not standards or anything, just like their
Perspective. maybe?
yes
Yeah.
down to something like that, life could be a lot simpler and a lot better for a lot of people, you know.
Oh yeah.
So, but I want to say something real quick about Daryl Hannah,
Okay.
because we do a Patreon, and
Mhm.
I want to promote our Patreon just a little bit. So I'm thinking our next Patreon movie that we do
Okay.
should be a shout out to Daryl Hannah and help give a little bit more to Chris Buhite, because this is his movie and we're obviously just like fucking around with this
Mhm.
movie. I say we do Kill Bill for our next Patreon movie.
Okay. I love those movies.
You know, and just we'll
Kill
watch
Bill
that
1?
one. Yeah, and then see where it goes.
We should do that, and then we should and then we should try to do the 5-finger death punch on each other and see which one kills each
Be
other
like,
first.
whoever talks next will
Twist the heart, punch. Fuck.
And then he's like, "Fuck, he showed you that?" She's like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
Kung Fu.
He did.
Isn't that Kung Fu?"
Uh-huh.
I watched a lot of Kung Fu back when I was a kid too. So,
Hell yeah.
anyways, what else should we throw down on this movie?
Well, we could talk a little bit about, so like the airline deal, we alluded to that his dad knows that the airline is gonna do well, and so then they try to do some insider trading, and then when that happens, Gordon Gekko, because he's the villain of this show, he wants to sell off the company, lay them all off, and make a bunch of money, and then Bud is just like, fuck that, that's my dad, and so then he's like, I'm gonna call him on his shit, and I'm gonna get my other friend who lives on a boat,
Right, the opposite guy,
Yeah.
the one he had him following around and
Mhm.
everything, right?
and we're going to buy some shit and do some Wall Street deals. And then Gordon Gekko's like, I'm going to call the FCC. And then he gets, or the SCC, sorry. And then he gets the SEC. And then he gets arrested. And then when he's in jail, the feds are like, hey, why don't you wear a wire? Let's go get Gordon Gekko instead. And Gordon Gekko fucking beats him up. Punch, punch, punch. And then he goes to jail.
And then he's in prison. And so then that's how the next
That's how Money Never Sleeps.
Money Never Sleeps starts, right?
Yep.
He's getting out of prison.
He gets out. He's like, here's your fucking old ass phone and $7.
Right. And yeah, so that's basically it. Like he tries to screw over Bud and his
Mhm.
family, and then Bud does the old flipperoo and screws him over.
Yep, he used that quote from the start, the war of Sun Tzu's Art of War. He said, "Oh, you're my equal. I'm going to fight you."
Right. And so, like, then Bud learns a little about family, you know?
Yeah.
And, but there is one thing I wanted to talk about in this movie, because there is one point where Charlie Sheen, Bud, and Gecko, Michael Douglas, are in the steam room.
Oh, yeah.
Have you ever been in, like, a Turkish steam room?
No.
I've been in steam rooms in, like, rec centers and whatever, but I want to go to, like, a legit, like, full-on steam room.
That'd be cool.
You know, everybody's in there fucking hanging out naked, and it's, like, 400 degrees, so you don't even care. Like, you can't even look at people because your eyes are melting.
Right.
And they probably have, like, shots of ice water somewhere, and you have to wear flip-flops or, like, wooden shoes because you can't walk on the ground.
Because it'll burn you.
Yeah. So I don't know. That's kind of like one thing that's been on my bucket list. It's like, I want to go to this steam room.
That'd be cool. I've always wanted to hang out in the bathhouse in Maverick, you know, at the end when him and his dad are hanging out in that hot bath water and it's all steaming up. I wanted to go in there.
Yeah.
And then he's like, Dolores, where's the money? And then he's like, click, I'm fucking robbing you. And then Mel Gibson's like, shit, I got some more money in a boot anyways. I don't give a fuck. You know?
Right. And he's like, oh, it's all about the chase. You
yeah.
know? Fucking Maverick. Well, guys, I gotta go.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that might be my next investment in my house.
Is a steam room?
Yeah, I'm going to just fucking build a steam so then we can hang out naked together.
You're going to have like those things grow mold unless they're like super ventilated. I guess you kind of know how to do that since you spent most of your life working in ventilation.
Yeah, I've helped build a couple of steam rooms.
Oh, have you?
But yeah.
I wanted to build a cigar room in here.
Well, we still can.
You just got to put a fucking hole somewhere, don't you?
Yeah. Oh, where's that hole? Let's put something in it.
Right. Just is that what it does? And just like recycles the air, like a reverse osmosis room or something?
No, if you were gonna just like put a cigar room in here, we'd have just a good ventilation fan and like an intake air to put fresh air.
Nice. We'd have to kind of like make it to where the door was more.
We draw that fresh air in from outside.
Yeah, it's awesome.
You know. So
well, that was not Wall Street.
We talked about some of it. We talked about the key points. We talked about the titties.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about Daryl Hannah. We talked about Bud and Gecko fighting over the dynamite.
Yeah.
We talked about a little bit of insider trading.
Mm-hmm. And to be fair, who names their kid Bud?
Yeah, that's horrible. Anyways, you got an idea for next week?
No, I don't.
I do.
What do you got?
I want to lay down a little bit of groundwork. It's from an actor that you probably either love or hate.
Okay.
And
no in between.
Everyone that has watched his movies, whether they loved or hate him, has talked an absolute amazingly amount of shit.
Oh, no.
I'm talking about Nicolas Cage.
All right. Yep.
We're watching Raising Arizona.
Oh, yes.
You know what that is?
That's basically the 80s.